follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Great hour ahead. Double shot with Paul Stone. We'll talk college football. Cousin Sal with some futures he likes in the NFL. And it's difficult being a Cowboy fan, but great to talk to Cousin Sal coming up in JJ at the dice table. Can't wait to hear some of those stories. Paul Stone joins us now. He's on the Progressive Guest Line at Paul Stone Sports on X. And he's on every Thursday to preview conferences in college football. SEC and Mountain West today. A ton of picks. Before we get to the SEC, sir, I was singing your praises earlier. This is a great prop bet you found at BetMGM. Tell us what you found with a head-to-head three-way, Notre Dame and Miami, please.
Yeah, first of all, sometimes the numbers, looking, Paulie, at some of the more traditional numbers like regular season wins, I mean, they're at 11.5. I think they're going to lose a game, but the under, you got to play. The best I've seen is minus 200. Some stores north of minus 200 to play the under 11.5. Don't want to do that. I think Notre Dame's going to make the playoff, but you've seen the prices. You got to lay $7, $8. Minus 700 or minus 800 for the Irish to make the playoffs. So didn't like that either. So started kind of shopping around and found this at BetMGM a few days ago. And it's a three-way market, as you mentioned, Notre Dame and Miami. And the prop is which school will win more regular season games. So it's a three-way market. You've got Notre Dame at minus 118. Mm-hmm. You've got Miami at plus 220. And you've got a tie at plus 340. And important to note here that if they both end up with one loss or two losses or whatever the case might be, then the tie is the winning side, if you will, and you lose your bet if you took Notre Dame or Miami, Florida. But what I kind of base this on is the fact that Notre Dame, of course, is playing Miami, Florida on November 7th, which is a college football fans' delight. We have so many great games on that day, November 7th. Notre Dame currently favored by 7 points at DraftKings. So I think Notre Dame's going to win that game outright. You look at the remainder of their schedule, their schedules are really comparable. Notre Dame 66th, toughest according to Phil Steele. Miami's 62nd. So I think outside of that game, their other 11 games, they're going to have the same record in those games, whether it be one loss, no losses, two, whatever the case might be. So I think Notre Dame minus 118 to have more wins in the regular season than Miami is a good play. So Notre Dame minus 118 there at BetMGM.
Great breakdown. I reached out to two people. They said that should be at least $2 what they made it. That's a fantastic find. Okay, SEC. Who wins it? State your case. What happens at the top?
Yeah, in Kirby Smart's first season there in Athens, Paulie, way back in 2016, the Georgia Bulldogs went 8-5. But in the 9 seasons since, Georgia has finished in the top 7 in the final AP final season poll all 9 years. So they've been in the final AP poll top 7 each of the last 9 years. They are the class of the Southeastern Conference and obviously one of the stronger programs in all of college football. They've appeared in 3 of the last 4 SEC championship games. The 3 years that they've been in the championship game, they have won it. So, again, they are ruling the SEC right now. Entering 2026, they do have a couple of questions, namely at the receiver position. Their top 2 guys, Zachariah Branch and Colby Young, both off to the NFL. But this is a talented team. To me, it starts with their gutsy, workmanlike, blue-collar quarterback, Gunnar Stockton, an experienced guy who's been in the wars, got one of the best running back rooms in all of college football, led by Nate Frazier. And then they've got a defense that just year in and year out under Kirby Smart is going to rank high in the key defensive statistical categories, typically going to give up an average of less than 20 points a game. So very strong defensively. So, a lot of people are going to, before I close here, a lot of people are going to pick Texas. They're kind of the trendy pick, kind of the pick du jour, if you will. But the Longhorns, as we know, are 0-3 against Georgia their first 2 years in the SEC. They can't run the ball against Georgia. Georgia has given up 31 yards or fewer against Texas in each of those 3 games. So Texas has never rushed in these last 2 years for more than 31 yards a game against Georgia, averaging only 1.15 yards per carry. At plus 320, it's not a huge price. It's not going to get you from the outhouse to the penthouse. Might get you one of them tiny houses. Might get you from an efficiency to a 1-bedroom. But still, we can't give away, you got to like the price. I think it's a good price. Georgia plus 320 available at Caesar William Hill to win the SEC title.
Excellent.
Okay, Paul, you got Georgia and Texas 1-2 in the SEC. No surprise there. Give me the team, though, that's overvalued in this league. Like you see A&M, they're plus 850 to win it. Bama's plus 850 to win it. Kiffin, you're wearing the LSU hat. They're 9-1 to win it. Then you got Ole Miss and Chambliss, new head coach, 11-1. Who is the team in the SEC that is mispriced because they're being overvalued? Is there one that stands out?
There might be a couple, and I think the pricing is pretty good here, John. But I would look at Texas A&M. They are a team that made the playoff last year, obviously lost at home there to Miami. The Hurricanes go on to the national championship game where they're defeated by Indiana. But looking at this A&M team, they lose their defensive line, which is really the impetus of that defense. They lose 3 guys up front, and not just any 3 guys who were drafted in the first 81 selections of this past April's NFL draft. So 3 guys picked in the first 3 rounds. Defense is not going to be as good. And I think the jury's still out on Marcel Reed. When it got to be kind of crunch time late in the year, in 4 of his last 5 games last year against FBS opponents, he threw 2 interceptions in 4 of his last 5 against FBS teams. So he's got a little bit of a turnover issue there. And I just think Alabama, I think they're just gradually losing a little traction post Nick Saban. In each of his first 2 seasons, Kalen DeBoer has lost 2 games, 8-4, or 8-4, 9-4, I believe, but lost 4 in each of the last 2. Couldn't run the ball last year, only 3.5 yards per carry. I think they'll be better in that department this year with true freshman Xavier Crowell, but still, it's a question mark. I just think it's a team that's going to perhaps struggle a little bit this year, need to get better. In the receiving position, Ryan Coleman Williams, who's a huge blue chip recruit and certainly one of the better receivers in the nation, he had 14 drops last year, one of the national leaders. You can't do that. So I just think Alabama might be slightly overpriced in the SEC market.
Okay, Paul Stone, our guest, talking SEC. It's on the Progressive Guest Line on every Thursday. How about your favorite win total in the SEC?
It's going to be Arkansas. I often look at unders, and I'm going to do that again here. The Arkansas Razorbacks, they're off a 2-10 season. Didn't win a single game last year in the SEC. Got a new first-year head coach in Ryan Silverfield. He was not the Razorbacks' first choice. They've got a roster. If you look at it, it is devoid of front line and even mid-level in some cases SEC talent. They lose their quarterback, Taylon Green. His eligibility has been expired. And then the top player in their program also gone. That being, in my opinion, their running back, Mike Washington, guy who rushed for 1,070 yards last year, 6.4 yards per carry, just a bull of a running back drafted in the 4th round by the Las Vegas Raiders. They're going to win their opener against FCS North Alabama. They are favored in week 4 over Tulsa. But other than those 2 games, they're going to be an underdog in the remaining 10 games, likely a double-digit underdog in 8 of those. I just think this is probably a 3-win team at best. I think 4 and 8 would be great, and that would still get us under the total. So I like Arkansas. It is heavily juiced to the under, but Arkansas under 4.5 regular season wins, minus 166 there at DraftKings.
How about a game of the year? 2 minutes left till we break.
Yeah, I'm looking at a big game there in Austin on October 24th when Ole Miss and Trinidad Chambliss come to the state capital of Texas to play Arch Manning and the Texas Longhorns. Of course, Chambliss and Manning, 2 of the favorites in the Heisman Trophy voting. So there'll be a lot of eyes on this game, Paulie. This game opened at DraftKings on the Game of the Year market about a month ago, 45 days ago. Opened Texas minus 9.5. Ole Miss is taking a little money down to 8.5, but 9's kind of a dead number, so I still like Ole Miss. Looking at Ole Miss's team, it has to start with Trinidad Chambliss. And I've asked this question on a lot of appearances this summer, and I might be missing a game, but was there a better individual single game performance than what Trinidad Chambliss had last year in that quarterfinal victory, 39-34, over not just any team, but over the aforementioned Georgia Bulldogs? I mean, that was such
and that's
such
why
a performance.
Paul, I'm dying to know, though. It was so great. You bet Chambliss to win a Heisman Trophy? Because I love him. I can't get enough.
Yeah, I don't get heavily involved in that market, but I did bet a little bit on Chambliss. I believe it 11-1 a couple of months ago. So that's the only bet I have on the Heisman Trophy. I think he's a guy who could win it. Is going to start with the game against Louisville on Sunday night. That's going to have a lot of eyeballs on it. Going to play LSU in week 3. Going to have this game against Texas. So he's going to have a lot of opportunities to showcase his skills. But in that game, talking about Chambliss against Georgia, throws for 362 yards. He's under duress the whole game. I mean, he's just pulling off these Houdini acts. And I think against Texas, when you've got edge rusher Colin Simmons coming from the edge, you got to have a quarterback, ideally, who can split the rush and who can go upfield. And Chambliss can do that. He can run the ball. So I think he's going to have some gainers against the Longhorns. The Rebels covered twice last year, or won outright twice last year as the betting underdog, won at Oklahoma, defeated Georgia again in that aforementioned game. I think this is going to be a tight game. I think Ole Miss rather is going to take the Longhorns, to the fourth quarter. I think it's going to be an SEC throwdown. Anything above 7, I think, is good. I like Ole Miss plus 8.5 over the Texas Longhorns.
All right, segment 1. Great job, SEC. Mountain West up next. Paul will give out a 6-1 shot coming up next on Follow the Money. So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. With VSiN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets. On this show, we follow the money, and when VSiN decided to launch our own store, the smart money was on Shopify. Getting the VSiN store off the ground was easier than we expected, and Shopify's templates and AI tools had us look incredible and professional from day one. Zero coding required. Shopify checkout keeps sales moving smoothly, and returning customers can complete a purchase in one click. Built-in analytics, you always know what's selling and where your customers are coming from and how to keep the momentum going. When questions come up, and they will, Shopify's AI assistant Sidekick is there with answers so you never lose momentum. You can check out the store at vsin.com/store. And if you're ready to build your own, all you need is the idea. Shopify handles the rest. Start your free trial at shopify.com/vsin. Shopify.com/vsin. Again, that's shopify.com/vsin.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Back at it with Paul Stone on every Thursday to preview a conference in college football at Paul Stone Sports on X. That's his website, and the follow on X on the Progressive Guest Line. And we just talked SEC. Arkansas under, Georgia to win it, and Ole Miss game of the year at Texas. Mountain West, it breaks my heart, Paul. This used to be a strong league, but they lose teams every year. They lost a lot of teams that went to the Pac-12. They do welcome North Dakota State and Northern Illinois. Let's start with your pick to win this league at a juicy price. Take it away, please.
It is a different league, and it's just, kind of symbolic of what college football has become. But you look at the Mountain West, and unlike most of their Mountain West brethren in this newly shaped conference, Air Force, they return a lot of personnel and a lot of people from last year. They, in fact, returned 57% of their total snaps from last year. So I'm looking for the Falcons to rebound. They've had back-to-back losing seasons. They were 4-8 last year. They returned some key offensive personnel. Certainly, you have to start with their quarterback, Liam Zarka, rushed for 924 yards last year. almost 5 yards a carry, 13 rushing touchdowns, really got better as the year went on. And another guy I'm looking for big things out of this year on offense for Air Force is their fullback, Owen Allen. He gained 750 yards last year, averaged 5.7 yards per carry, and they really started to utilize him quite a bit more in the second half of the season. In fact, Allen exceeded 100 yards rushing in 5 of their final 7 games. So I'm expecting big things out of Owen Allen at the fullback position. And looking at, kind of their problems last year and their demise was due to their defense. They uncharacteristically gave up 30.3 points per game. And if you gave up 423 yards on average a game as well. But if you'll remember the first half of the season, I mean, they were just getting bombed on defense. Yeah. They gave up in the first 6 games. I think they gave up 49 points twice. They gave up 51 points in the game. But the second half of the year, they played a little bit easier schedule, but they steadied. They only allowed 20.7 points per game in the last 6 games. So they showed some improvement, and they actually, on that defensive side of the ball, guys, returned 75% of their total snaps from 1 year ago, and that is more than any team in the entire 138-team FBS structure. So they got a lot of people back on defense, 10 of their top 12 tacklers. They're going to be better on that side of the ball. Certainly, schedule is a big part of getting to the Mountain West Championship game. And looking at their schedule, they get UNLV and North Dakota State, 2 of the teams that are predicted to finish in the league's upper division. They get those 2 teams at home. They avoid Hawaii. They do play co-favorite New Mexico in Albuquerque in the regular season finale for both teams in a game that could certainly have Mountain West Championship game implications. As I said, I think last week or on one of the earlier group of 6 conference previews, the vast majority of schools in these leagues are seeing many of their returning players be picked up or poached by other programs. They are leaving for greener pastures, literally. So it's just something they got to deal with every year. And what I think it means to us handicappers is, and I don't want to, use too broad of a brush here, but I think these preseason polls even become more of a crapshoot. You're seeing teams being favored just based on history and things like that. And it's not really based on a close examination of the changeover on the roster and all the moving parts that we're dealing with. So I think, you might not want to go to a real long shot, but go away from maybe the short shots in these conference outright markets and look more to the middle teams maybe a little bit further down the page. I think Air Force is a team that just matches up nicely at a lot of levels. Troy Calhoun is a great coach. He's got his quarterback and fullback returning. They're going to be a lot better on defense. They got a favorable schedule. I like Air Force at plus 600 available today at BetMGM.
Okay, very good. I'm surprised the newcomer, North Dakota State, is the 3rd choice. And Brad Powers Tuesday mentioned how he likes their win total under. Speaking of win totals, what's your favorite bet in the Mountain West with a under here? Take it away.
I mean, you're looking at San Jose State, the Spartans of San Jose State. You look at their total and you see some differences in the market, and always shop around depending on your preference. But their total is 4.5 at some stores, juiced to the over, and then you can find 5.5 at other stores, heavily juiced to the under. I'm going to look actually at the under 4.5 at plus money, and we'll get to that price here shortly. But looking at their roster, I mean, they hypothetically had a pretty good nucleus set to return for 2026 before the transfer portal opened and all heck broke loose there in San Jose. And they were just really, I mean, their roster was just kind of left to the sharks. I mean, it's kind of a shame, and it's kind of symbolic, again, of what college football has become. But San Jose State, they lost 8 players to Power 4 schools. To Power 4 schools, not just any schools, but decent competitive Power 4 schools. Their best 8 players off a 3-9 record in the Mountain West. I love Coach Ken, but, he's got the short stick here. And college football, again, is just not a fair fight in some cases today. San Jose State, certainly not the only Mountain West school to have their roster poached by, stronger outside forces, so to speak. But just to kind of illustrate the losses that they're enduring this year, their quarterback, Walker Eggett, he passes for over 3,000 yards last year. He's off to Duke. He's going to be their starting quarterback, replacing Darian Mensah, who transferred to Miami in the offseason. Their top receiver, Danny Scudero. This guy was maybe the top group of 6 receiver in all of college football last year. 88 catches, 1,297 yards, and 10 touchdowns. He's off to Colorado to play for Coach Prime. Their top running back, Steve Chavez Soto. He averaged over 5 yards a carry last year. He's off to Utah. They lose also a wide receiver and a defensive tackle to Utah. UCLA and Arizona came in and got a couple of their starters as well. So just losing their best and brightest to these Power 4 schools. You look at their schedule. They play FCS Cal Poly in week 3. That's going to be a victory. That's really their only sure win. I only see them favored in one other game, that being a 4-point home favorite against league newcomer Northern Illinois. I made their total. I work up all the teams and make my own totals. I made this total 3.5 juiced to the over. I just can't see this team doing any better than 4-8. 4-8 really looks like a good record for the Spartans this year. We're going to get it at plus money there at BetGM. I like San Jose State under 4.5 plus 120 at BetMGM.
All right, one more, my friend. UNLV, Hawaii, week 1 at Hawaii. What'd you do?
UNLV, along with New Mexico, pretty much the consensus co-favorites in the newly shaped Mountain West this year. The Mountain West Conference, as you mentioned, they welcome 3 new members, and say goodbye to 5, former teams. The most notable of those former teams in the Mountain West being 3-time defending champion Boise State. But despite being expected to contend for the league crown, UNLV, they don't return a whole lot of experience. Look at the returning snap statistic. They return 34% of their snaps from last year. They ranked 91st statistically in that category. Among the defections, their quarterback, Anthony Calandria. Calandria was the offensive player of the year in the Mountain West last year. He is transferred to Nebraska. He is going to be replaced, and this is going to be a very closely watched transition to their new quarterback, but former 5-star and ballyhooed recruit Jackson Arnold out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Denton, Texas, to be exact. He has 18 starts at the Power 4 level, started his career at Oklahoma, where he started 10 games, started 8 games last year at Auburn. He is now at UNLV, so he's going to be their quarterback. And until we see something different out of Arnold, I think there's a little bit of drop-off from Calandria to Arnold. They do get a head start on Hawaii to the season. UNLV opens the season in week 0. They host Memphis in a big-time group of 6 game that could have playoff implications. They're going to be playing there at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. So UNLV does get to play 1 week earlier. But I just like Hawaii here. The Rainbow Warriors, they averaged 29 points a game last year, almost 400 yards a game. They returned their quarterback, Micah Alahado. Alahado last year, man, he was hampered by injuries. He had a ankle injury, a foot injury. He had a bum shoulder at the end of the year, probably even had a toothache. But that guy was banged up all year and still kept on ticking, kept on playing. If he's healthy, he can run the ball too. If you watch that Stanford game last year, the opener before he got hurt, had a big 30-yard burst up the middle in that game. But you look at Hawaii, on their home field, they have been dynamite the last 2 years against the spread in Honolulu. The Rainbow Warriors, 11-2-1 against the spread. I like them getting the 1.5 here against UNLV. Give me the Rainbow Warriors plus the small points over the Rebels.
Well done, my friend. Appreciate it. Good work. We'll catch up with you soon.
Hey, look forward to seeing you guys next week. Have a good one.
All right. How about winning $20,000 at the dice table? We got some great stories from JJ. Cousin Sal, the legend, up next. We've been saying it since the mid-'90s. Is this the year for the Cowboys?
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
All right, excited to talk to Cousin Sal, gambler, Ringer Gambling Show, Jimmy Kimmel Show. Catch him every Sunday nights during the football season with Bill Simmons and Guest the Lines. He's been doing that forever, and he joins us now on the Progressive Guest Line to talk a little gambling, futures, and a great crap story. Appreciate the time. He's on the Progressive guest line, by the way. Thanks for the time, sir. Good to catch up with you. I saw your tweet. I think we're all on the same page here. Were you already on the Giants win total under before the Harbaugh clip, or did that put you over the total?
I was right there, Paulie, and it put me over. In essence, it put me under the total because, my God, for that room, for no one there's 100 players in there. No one reacts to that speech favorably. I can't believe it. What a long year that's going to be for them.
Yes, and I also think there might be some chemistry issues in light of what's happening off the field that before you even come to camp, Harbaugh's got to put some fires out.
Yeah, no kidding. And, listen, nobody wants to root for injuries, but some people are sending Dart to the Super Bowl. People are sending Chuck to the Super Bowl. Like, these are running quarterbacks who don't know how to stay on the field. I would, you're looking for unders? Don't look no further than those two right there.
Well, Sal, you're going to hate this right from Jump Street. I absolutely love the Cowboys this year. I'm betting them to win a division. I'm thinking about betting Dak for MVP. I know you're going to call me certifiably insane, but I really like your football team. I really do.
Listen, I don't want to – I could come on here and cry and say we're going to go 4-13, but the truth is we're only a couple years removed from 3 seasons with 12 straight wins, right? So 12 wins, 3 straight years. But I'm convinced, though, JJ, that Jerry is going to see the Cowboys win a Super Bowl before I do. He's going to outlive all of us just to punish Cowboys Nation. But the truth is, like, I don't know. What do you like about him? Like, defensively, we were worse than the league. Like, that has to turn around. We gave up, 6 yards per play. So that absolutely has to move, and it's less about Dak, and it's more about can we get a lot out of Caleb Downs and Malachi Lawrence, and we signed this Jalen Thompson in the secondary. That's what it's going to be. We've got a new defensive coordinator. So I'm with that. For God's sakes, we have to win that first game against the Giants. That's going to ruin my year if that goes down.
How tough have the last few years been that it's like you can't catch a break and you can't get back to the promised land. Meanwhile, one of your good friends is a Patriot fan.
Yeah, I know it. Oh, thank God for that, though. Had they won the Super Bowl, that might have been it from that. I might have had to hang it up, guys. It doesn't get worse than that. I don't know why. You guys, JJ, you have friends like me that just root against their friends because, I know we're going to talk about
all the
Mets,
time. I rooted against England. Sal, I have a buddy who played for the England WBC baseball team, and out of spite, I was rooting like crazy for Argentina. So, yes, that is the case.
See, to me, that's normal. That's how I grew up. And, honestly, I'm a Mets fan, but if I could own one Major League Baseball club, it would be the Yankees. And I would treat it, I would keep a Pittsburgh Pirates-esque payroll and make sure they never won. And I would just be just as satisfied as if the Mets won a World Series with the Yankees coming in last every year. I don't know what it is with me.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the Mets. They're an absolute disgrace.
Oh, no.
I have to talk about them on a nightly basis, as you know. They had the second best odds at the beginning of the season, Sal, and yet they're going to be selling everyone at the trade deadline. You've seen a lot of crummy baseball, so this is very open-ended. You could take this any which way you like. Is this the worst Mets season of Cousin Sal's lifetime?
Boy, there are a lot of them are the worst, and for so many reasons. When we were up 7 with 17 games left, and Glavine blew it to the Marlins on the last day, that was the worst. That was the worst ending. When we lost to the Cardinals after Endy Chavez makes that catch, that was disgusting. But yes, in terms of expectation, and JJ, we're supposed to win mid-90s, high 90s. You're supposed to get 95, 96 wins, somewhere in there, and. You know me, I'm not a coach killer in general or a GM killer. To me, I think the players have to perform. This was supposed to be a good team, and just the chemistry was not there with Bichette and Simeon and all these other guys and Louis Robert. And, we have 5 first basemen. It's not all Mendoza's fault. They gave him a half a season to come to and get it going. But to put 5 guys at first base and 4 of them don't know how to play the position, I feel for the guy a little. But that said, this is disgusting. I mean, and I don't know. My kid is playing in Cooperstown next week. He's 12 years old. So, anyone gets to play really. So they have a tournament. I'm stopping at Citi Field. There's a bunch of us going to the game, and I have not not looked forward to a game, being in person of a Mets game in so long. We're probably going to face Sal on Wednesday and just get demolished. And I'm sickened over it. I don't even know what else to say.
Mm-hmm. It's been a tough run between the Cowboys and the Mets. JJ told this story on Monday's show. I remember that happened when you were on the air. Do you have the same bad beat, one of the worst of all time, that you had La La Land for Best Picture and you were actually in the building?
Oh, yeah. I was, my cousin Jimmy was hosting the Oscars that night, and I was a writer, and, about 14 of us backstage, right? We were trying to come up with ideas for jokes in between segments, and the biggest joke wrote itself when, Moonlight was presented Best Picture after La La Land was presented Best Picture. And, in terms of bad beats and bet aches, I think that was the absolute worst, because if you were to live bet La La Land after it was announced that La La Land won,
yes,
what would the live bet odds be, JJ? Like minus 75 billion after that? Like, I don't even know what it would be.
It sounds about right. Minus 75 billion. It's an all-timer. There's no getting around it. Now, to put people in better spirits, Sal, you have some time to lock these in. Is there a favorite NFL future you've already bet?
I like, I know we texted about this, JJ, but I think I've come around on the Lions a little bit. Now, they came from 15 wins.
I have
and
too.
They went down to, I think, 9, right? Were they 9-8? So they just kind of missed out on the playoffs. Incredible bad luck. Just incredible. And it was bad the year before, too, in terms of injuries. And by the way, not looking great with Terrion Arnold going out either and them having to cut him. But I feel like just enough people, JJ, are off the bandwagon that there's value in jumping on the Lions to have double-digit wins this season. Don't forget, fourth-place schedule, last year first-place schedule. And if you look at those games, it actually makes a difference. I think they can get to 10. And right now, that's the one that jumps out at me.
Okay. There's no better place at a casino at a hot dice table. What's it like when JJ gets on a heater? And can you share the experience of playing craps and rolling dice with JJ?
JJ's the best. He keeps the energy going. He has these. He has a lot of superstitions.
Okay.
I adhere to. Same dice. If the dice go wild off the table, they don't even bounce off the floor, and he's screaming, "Same dice, same dice!" the pit bull. Everybody's looking. They don't know what's going on, but it shows. And there's nothing like being at a hot table with JJ. And by the way, we had a friend. I don't want to mention who he was. He was betting against the table. Talk about friends betting against each other. This is not
what a disgrace, Paulie. What a disgrace.
This is worse.
You don't take sides against the family. And you know what? I convinced Sal, you may not remember this, not in New Orleans, but in Vegas.
Yeah.
Our mutual pal, David Chang, is usually a don't pass guy, which I can't stand. Like, that is so unfun. That is such a killjoy. Go do that and roll the dice by yourself. But we convinced Chang not to play the don't pass, and he ended up making a fortune.
Great. What did he hit the He hit the 11? Or was something crazy that he hit?
He hit some crazy bets. Whatever he did, he hit crazy.
Yeah. JJ, can I warn Paulie what it's going to be like betting with you? What are you guys going to pick games Friday or Sunday morning? When are you going to pick all the games? You going to do it throughout the week?
I fill in with these guys. I don't know. But Paulie, they do it on Friday, I assume. But I pop in from time to time.
Yeah.
I pick them like crazy. But yes,
right.
What do you want to warn them about?
Here's what's going to happen, Paulie. You ready? Because I've been through this with JJ. So, first of all, JJ is the best in the business when it comes to this. He does his homework. His analysis is up to snuff.
Debatable.
But then something happens. As the year rolls on, I think because he's so close to New York sports, and he can't just acknowledge that the Jets and Giants stink.
Yeah.
And there'll be a game in there, like Game 4 or something. The Jets show some promise, and then he'll pick them in Game 5, with the spread, and he's going to start to spiral. Then he's going to hit a cold streak. He's going to go 2-3 in his best 5, and then he's going to hit it again and again, 2-3, 1-4, and then in November he's going to look out. He's like, all right, I got to go out for a run. I got to clear my head, and it's going to be 8 degrees outside. And he knows he can't run. And his baby's going to start crying. He's going to completely unravel. all while his decrepit Dolphins will be bad enough. Quinn Ewers is going to come out week 17 and 18 and win 2 games and cost them the number 1 pick. That's what you look forward to.
Great. Thanks for the time, my man. I'll be listening on Sunday nights. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Sally.
Cousin Sal, Ringer Gambling Show, Guest the Lines, and the Kimmel Show. I get more on the crap story coming up. That's fantastic with the friends going against you as well. And an SEC coach lost his mind next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. Good to be with you. Fun to catch up with Cousin Sal. And that is as bad as it gets to be in the building at the Oscars when La La Land is announced and you have action on Best Picture. That was a good point about what do you think it would have been in play after it was announced that it won and that it didn't win for the mistake with what happened with Beatty and Faye Dunaway. Oh, my God, that's all time. And you both were on it. That's why I can't
Paulie, this
believe
is the lesson. You don't bet award shows. Don't do it.
Yes.
Don't do it.
Yes.
Don't make the mistake I did. It's like Kyler Murray, like how I have PTSD from betting the Kyler Murray experience and overs each of the last 2 years. That's kind of how I feel with award shows. Now, I have dabbled since the La La Land debacle. And once I see the Odyssey, I feel like I got to ride with my boy here on taking it Best Picture and just, laddering it across the board. But
moved again.
Usually ends. It moved again.
It moved again
crazy.
since we last did a show together. It's $1.60 now. Yep. So you made the case to Detroit. Sal likes Detroit. Mitch likes Detroit. Win total over. To years, and I mentioned Campbell earlier, 25-1 Coach of the Year. But how things went against them last year, especially the close games. Even though a lot of misfortune, they still went 9-8. They lost to Pittsburgh by 5. They lost to the Rams by 7. They had that game against Minnesota on Christmas. I think they had 6 turnovers. They lost to the Packers by 7. They lost to the Eagles by 7. They lost to the Vikings by 3. Flip a couple of those. That's it. Just a couple go your way, and you're cooking. And if you want to play the schedule game this year, and Sal is right, and you mentioned it too about how easy this schedule is. Now, I already gave out, this is at Will Hill. Week 2, they play the Bills. Highest scoring game in September is 11-12-1. The last time they played was 48-42. But look at the schedule after that. Jets, Panthers.
A lot of wins.
Cardinals, yes.
A lot of wins.
Green Bay and Minnesota.
A lot of wins.
Miami. Look at that. That is definitely doable.
Boy, let's be honest. If they could find a way to beat Buffalo at Buffalo, which will be a very, very difficult game for them to win. I mean, it's not inconceivable for them to go and get off to like a 5-0, 6-1 type of start.
No, right.
And then you're home free with the 10.5. And that's why, despite the fact that, hey, Chicago won the division last year and Green Bay's been a perennial playoff team the last few years, and hey, people respect O'Connell, Flores, and the Vikings in their pedigree. The books, our friends over at Circa and DraftKings, they're not messing around. Detroit's the favorite to win the division because there's talent and it's a 4th-place schedule. I can get on board with that. Where I have hesitation with the Lions, when we talk about them winning a championship or getting to a Super Bowl, I have a hard time envisioning, Paulie, them having a better road to a Super Bowl than they did the 2 years they were in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Up 17 in a championship game.
Yep.
Following year, a 1 seed, home field throughout, losing is a huge favorite to Washington. When those opportunities slip through your fingertips, it's tough to get better chances.
That stunned me. They were pathetic defensively, and Goff was bad in that game. And the pick 6 was a killer, no doubt. I don't like how the season ends. You're at Minnesota, at Chicago, at Green Bay, with a home game against the Giants mixed in. I don't like that. But there's so many winnable games before that.
You're not kidding.
That
3
is
or 4
yeah.
division games on the road.
Ridiculous.
I mean, the Giants at home on Monday night, you like. But here's the hope with that, though, Paulie. You put yourself in such a good scheduling position and record position before you hit that home stretch. who knows what the shape of the Bears and the Packers are at in week 17 or week 18. Now, it's possible it's a 3-leg race, 4-leg race. Everybody's in it going down the stretch. But it's also possible one of those teams has regression and bad luck and maybe end up catching a break getting one of those two teams at the end of the year. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay. This is a fun discussion because we found out we got a great answer from Sean behind the glass during the break. Where's the worst place that your cell phone can go off? And ftm@vsin.com or tweet at us. I remember I was at the Dark Knight. Ledger, Nolan, Bale, quiet scene, Joker's involved, and I'm
Maggie Gyllenhaal, who lives around the corner from me in Brooklyn.
Oh,
by
yeah?
the way, Paulie.
Okay, yeah, awesome.
See her all the time walking a dog. Yeah,
That's
she has
great.
no idea who I am. Too bad. Her loss.
Yeah, her loss. And there's a great scene with Ledger, and I'm with my mom, and her cell phone goes off, and it's on blast. It's in her purse, and she can't find it, and she's panicking, and it kept ringing. She can't get to it. And I'm like, oh my God, the shame. This was
Did anyone curse you out in the movie theater?
Nah, they were okay because she was older, so you let it slide.
They gave the sympathy card to the elderly, which is good.
Yeah, but apparently, for people who go on a regular basis, because you mentioned the age factor, apparently it happens all the time at church. It is just out of control at church.
I'm not surprised by this. I mean, you have a lot of older folks. They don't know how to turn their phone on vibrate or silent.
Yes.
Paulie, it's so easy.
Yes.
On that subject, though, and we were talking about it with the crew before we came back from break, I think there's an easy answer, and it is in the spirit of church, but if we're going to go on a more down and dreary in the dark path, I think being at a funeral or wake has got to be the worst place. Yeah. Because there's just going to be no tolerance for it. You know what I mean? Like you're at a movie, people are in a good mood. They want to go see a movie. Nobody's particularly excited about the idea of, mourning the loss of a loved one or a friend or whatever. And then it's, nobody needs that.
Yeah.
Nobody needs that. So moral of the story is when you walk into a wake or a funeral, make sure the phone is on vibrate.
That's a good one. This was yesterday at SEC Media Day. New Florida coach John Summerall not happy when a reporter's phone went off.
How things were going to unfold. And you would be kicked out of our team meeting. I swear. Like, you're lucky I'm not going to throw this freaking podium right now. Like, it drives me crazy. I would say, who is that? But I'm not going to embarrass anybody. But no.
That was tough. Okay. Apparently, he went on for like 90 more seconds. But some people, because he went on for so long, some people were getting after him on social media. But come on, the guy, he's a reporter. He's trying there to do his job. It got a lot worse than that, that he did put him on blast. But that one, I was going to say, this happened to a colleague of mine. How about if you're hosting a radio or a TV show, and it was an older gentleman, and it would happen every single day, and he didn't know how to put it on vibrate or silent. It's like he's bringing it into charge. Inevitably, like every day, 45 minutes into the show, while you're taking, you can hear it in the background. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I Paulie, like if my phone, and I always have it on vibrate, so I'm probably the wrong person to ask. If it went off today, we'd have a laugh about it. It would be funny, and we would move on.
Yeah.
If it's becoming a regular pattern where you're a broadcast personality and you're acting like an 85-year-old man or woman who doesn't know how to shut their phone off, that is when it reaches a point of, dude, what are we doing here, man? Wake up. Shut the phone off.
Yeah.
Put it on mute.
Yeah.
Be a professional.
Don't bring it in. That's the other thing. Like if I keep hearing these stories that happens on a regular basis at church, don't bring it, leave it in the car, whatever. Because you know, like if it's going to how about if it happens to the same person more than,
I'm so addicted to the phone. Now I don't have to worry about it going off. If I'm at if I'm at church and I'm a Christmas, Easter church guy, I'll be the first to admit I'm not at church every single Sunday. We work on Sundays. We have football to watch. For those of you who go, hey, God bless. I go to church on Christmas and Easter. Judge if you'd like. Be that as it may. I may sneak a text from time to time when I'm in a church ceremony. I'll admit. When I'm at a wedding, I might sneak a text. Hey, what's the score of the Yankees-Rays game in the bottom of the second inning?
Yeah.
As they're saying I do, I might sneak a text.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not one to judge, but I'm not going to disturb the ceremony by my phone going off, Paulie. That's the key.
Sure. And thankfully, it hasn't happened to me in over 20 years in the business. But Mitch did that too. Mitch was sweating a Hawaii Bowl game on Christmas Eve, whatever it was, when he brought the phone. Didn't go off, but he had action on the game as well. That's got to be.
Needs to know what's going on.
Sure.
It's work. Hey, here's the good news for us. We, Paulie, always have the ace in the hole. The ace in the hole always in these sort of situations. Hey, honey, I'm working.
Work. Yeah.
Hey,
got to do it.
Personal left. This is my job. You know, I have to know. I'm not Joe in accounting. I'm not Chris in sales. I need to know.
That's right. It's like that great stand-up bit by Jay Moore. And when the girlfriend or lady would get, I can't believe he landed Jeannie Buss. What an upset. But in any event, it would be, I'm watching the game. I'm going to watch it again. Then I'm going to see the scores and watch the highlights on ESPN Sports Center. And then I'm going to get the USA Today to read the box score to see if anyone's lying and make sure it all checks out. That epic rant and bit he used to do when he was doing stand-up. So that's just how we are. If you're betting at Circa for a limited time, you can fund your wagers and contest entries with crypto using BurraPay. Pay no BurraPay transaction fees. Visit BurraPay.com to learn more and take advantage of the fee-free crypto wagering before August 31st exclusively at the Circa Sportsbook here at Circa Resort and Casino. More SEC talk. Aaron Murray coming up next on Follow the Money.